Kane's and brother Dan.
Hi.
Today we have a great show. We're continuing our discussion of the Forsaken by bringing in the second Forsaken that was chosen by the Dark One, Graendal.
That is right, Ryan. We are talking about Kamaril Maradin Nindar, a.k.a. the Lady Basine of Eridoma, a.k.a. Hessalam. To know her is to love her without any choice.
That's nice, nice.
And also, a.k.a. Heartseeker.
Heartseeker, yes. The vessel of pleasure, Ryan.
Oh man, the most complicated character possibly in the all of Wheel of Time, and none other than Delusions of Graendal was gonna what? Whoa, okay, I'm tripping over my own mouth. We have none other than the best and most dedicated servant of Graendal herself, Delusions of Graendal. Come aboard.
Oh yeah! Now the party's starting. We got dancing. We got snacks.
Bow, 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 bow.
We
Hello,
got people doing stuff in
gentlemen, scholars, friends. Happy fucking Sunday.
Let's go. This is going to be the best 19th.
We have an hour and a half to prove to Delusions that there are no gentlemen in the screen.
Just pets. Just pets.
To talk about today with Graendal, and I have so many questions, and I have one big one I'm going to ask later about Graendal, and I want to know what you guys think. But let's start it. Let's get into Graendal.
Let's do it. She obviously is a Forsaken from the Age of Legends. She was originally an aesthetic. She eschewed all material wealth. She kind of was a dirty broad. She I don't know if she showered. I'm picturing her as just like psychologist hippie, just didn't wear shoes, just the coolest person, like people you just want to have coffee with, you know?
I think more of a very dry person, someone who I don't know who had a bun, glasses, didn't wear much jewelry, if any at all, no adornments, things like that. She was someone, and also someone who was arrogant, someone who didn't like anyone because she didn't think anyone was worthy of her. She
yeah, that's a good point.
Not a likable person to be around, probably.
Was she a religious aesthetic? Was her asceticism based in her beliefs in the cosmos, et cetera, or what? What do you think?
Well,
Delusion?
it's difficult to say with religion within this world, because at the time, like prior to the bore being drilled, it's not like people had like faith in the Dark One, right? Like they were just living this basically life of excess. So it wasn't so much about religious aesthetic. Like she was just basically disdainful of society, and she was this was her opposition to what it like Las Vegas on steroids, right? So everyone out and flaunting their excess. She chose to live in a life of abstinence, in part or primarily to make a point, and that point is I'm better than you, which is just kind of her in all things. So there was a certain condescension to her aesthetic, as she wanted everyone to live the way that she was living rather than indulging in these pleasures and these passions that she saw around her.
So is that what the Age of Legends was like? Was it just a heinous fun? I mean, I'm jealous, but
I don't think everyone was like debauchery like everywhere like that. But
is it like a Game of Thrones novel?
Yeah, like you're living in a world without disease, without like starvation, like things could just be solved by the power. So it was this world basically of like if you weren't a 3-namer, like
Mhm,
Grendel
mhm.
is.
Mhm.
Lose there
Like
and
yourself,
Telamon.
Delusions of
Grendel.
Grendel.
3 names. Intentional. Totally intentional. Like if you weren't a 3-namer back in the Age of Legends, you were basically no one. So people were like, it was a constant struggle for social status, but there wasn't, I don't think the divide between like middle class and upper class was as extreme as it is in like today's society, because, well, unless you couldn't channel, really,
Mhm.
and then you were basically no one.
Well, and we do know that she, or at least it reads here in the whatfandom.com, that she was respected for her aestheticism.
Well, she was a psychologist.
Mhm.
She was a psychologist. Yeah, she was renowned, nationally known as probably the best ever, because she could do
For
things
healing.
that the one power couldn't even fix.
Which is
Oh, yeah.
such a crazy aspect of her character. Like,
She used
her-
DMT, Ryan.
is that what she did?
Yeah, she drank some nitro coffee. She went shaman for 3 days doing
on
DMT.
alkaline.
She did a silent retreat with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
And also figured out a way to lobotomize people on the way.
Well,
Just the fun stuff, the fun perks of being the best of the best.
well, it turns out that she is a full-on sadist.
I wouldn't say like she's not like Semirog. She doesn't derive pleasure from causing people pain. She derives pleasure from understanding humans more than they understand themselves. So she does take a certain level of pleasure, I think, just from being better than people, and she knows the human mind better than literally anyone. So the way, like, she can look at you and basically have a conversation and understand your hopes and dreams and how to annihilate them, and that's why she's so dangerous. But she doesn't get off by like fucking with people's, like, she'll get like by fucking with people's minds, yes, but not by like lobotomizing, unless like that's when she went into the excess levels. And again, it's like, was she just using the hammer as a means of throwing people off her extreme subtleties? I think so.
Okay, we'll get into that. Like, there's so many avenues to get.
Yeah, let me just, if I can, address that real fast, Delusions, because we see her in all her glory when Samael visits her, right? And she's putting on a show for him.
Oh,
she has acrobats, naked acrobats, doing the craziest things, all wanting her pleasure. She has the Shaboyan and Shamil Shamizel.
The Apple Scent Incorporated.
The Shaboyan and Shabayan.
Yeah, casually disrupted like a 3,000-year unbreakable chain just for like 2 minutes of Samael being like, that's cool.
Cool. But she does it, as we hear, it's for her pleasure. She gets off on compulsing the most beautiful people. To me, this defines sadism to a degree.
That's what
not Semiraj, like evil, like I want your pain, but being sadistic to a certain degree, and I guess narcissistic when you have it that everyone must adore you. But she does have some issues.
To that, most of that was like a front, right? Like you see this more in A Memory of Light when she becomes Hessalam, but you see glimpses of it in Towers of Midnight, especially when we get the perspective of her in Natron's Barrow before Rand blows it up. Like, she doesn't actually care about any of that stuff. And this is one part, of course, with RJ, different conversation, but he actually indicates in the text that she doesn't enjoy sex that much. And she really actually doesn't use her pets that much. She just wants everyone to think that's what she's doing. She wants people to dismiss her, and she wants them to think that she is just like so obsessed with the flesh, obsessed with like the prettiest, the most brilliant, like only they can be the chosen. It's not that at all. It's all about disrupting power with her. So it's like less hedonism and more just like obsession with power.
All right, I got a question.
Rather than the human body.
Yeah, and that seems to have convinced the entire world, and it's several Forsaken. But there are certain people who are not convinced that she is who she is, right? Shadow Huron and Ishamael. I think are the two entities that are behind her. Is there someone else that I'm missing? I mean,
Samael is pretty.
Rand,
Samael gets pretty close. Like Samael knows her better than almost any other
Samael
chosen.
knows. Yeah, Samael knows her well.
How does Rand know her so well?
Well,
He thinks he does, remember, and then she actually pulls the towel over his head. Like she pulls the wool over his eyes because he thinks that he's like, oh, this is how you destroy Graendal. And he goes in with that big power, and then of course she escapes because he doesn't know her that well. And he doesn't realize that she is someone who has plans on plans on plans. But Luce Theron would have been around at the same time as Camaril. They definitely would have crossed circles a lot.
I mean, Delusions was able to see through a dove's eyes. She has crazy powers to me. She's apparently not as strong as some of the other Forsaken, but that being able to warg a pigeon
that makes her stronger than just sheer strength. She can do things that some of the other Forsaken can't do. And even though like I was talking to someone about this earlier, even though a lot of them can use compulsion and do to a point, she was the only one who could use it effectively in someone's sleep. She could use it in the dream world when you were sleeping and not even be near you and still affect you. So that's dangerous. Like we saw no one else do that, with the exception of maybe Ishmael. But he was.
Didn't we see Mo Gideon do that to Nynaeve?
Yes, but in the real world, not in her sleep. That was in the real world.
Okay. Yeah, because when she was like, "You're going to be my horse," and all that.
Oh
stuff.
Yeah, she tried to turn her into a horse. Yeah. That was Tellerandriad. Yeah, that wasn't.
Okay. Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. So she was. Do we see now? So what I read into the psychoanalyst portion of this chosen is that it seems like people just dealt with psychological issues mainly with just the power. That's the way they healed. And if I'm reading correctly, that Graendal actually I guess used behavioral therapy, maybe just did basic psychoanalysis instead of just weaves, and that's how she was so good. I don't know. It says that she was able to cure things that the one power was not able to. I mean, maybe she had hallucinogenics for PTSD. I don't know, but it seems like it's kind of just. I mean, was she just doing psychological stuff? Do you think, guys?
I mean, she knew mental illness better than anyone. In like my fourth age headcanon, this is where I hope Nynaeve goes, honestly, especially with what we see her doing with the madness in the Ashaman. But this is where our girl went. She was deep into the mental illness, understanding that it's not just something that can be healed by the one power. And I really wish RJ had explored this more, because there's so much deep trauma in the Wheel of Time, and we know that there's war trauma that he focuses on a lot, but there's also a lot of sexual assault trauma, sexual harassment trauma. There is so much of that goes on in the series. And
it's crazy. Like I like to think like we watched Lord Terralda actually get PTSD and flip out. Yeah, that was pretty good.
I mean, maybe she was curing alcoholism. Maybe she was, or addiction. She could have been. To your point exactly, Graendal. She could have been doing something phenomenal, just behaviorally, that wasn't explored as much. And I wish we kind of knew what, what was she curing that the one power? And was it that the other quote unquote psychologist would just use the weave and go, I don't know, he still wants to smoke. I guess I don't know.
Like during the Age of Legends, what would people in a world where there were no hunger, no war, what would they be going to a psychiatrist about? You know, was life so mundane that they were just going crazy in their heads? Were they having thoughts of murder? Were you know, were things looked at differently as far as how to cure someone from there were no murders, there were no, you know, things like that, but the books do say that there was occasional violence, there were things that happened. You know, were those things when someone did something like that, did they go see Grendel? You know,
oh my gosh, you just gave me like the big, like, do you think that Mirren, as before she was Lanfear, ever went and like took the chair in Grendel's room and was like, listen, Camarel, we need to talk about Luce Theron because he's just up and left me for Ilyena, and I've got some feelings about it.
And she's lying on the couch and she's like, you know, he sent me
I
this
could
letter.
skin a man. I'm so mad.
Oh God. She's like, it's all right. No, tell me your feelings. I want to know my feelings. I want the weave. She's like, no, your feelings.
All right, let's take it further. She can't cure Lanfear, and that's one of the reasons that pitched her over the edge to the Dark One. Like, she cracked me. It's the worst transference in the history of therapy.
It is interesting to know that she is, they said, the second of the chosen to actually foreclaim. Yeah. What do you think of that, Jansen?
Well, I think that, you know, she was one of the first true acolytes of the Dark One. She brought Samael single-handedly, but they state that she brought many people to the Dark One. She was probably, you know, the liaison between the Dark One and all the new recruits. You know, and I'm not sure, they never really talked about why, but I'm sure that, you know, right around this time, we were talking earlier about how did Luce Theron know her? Well, we do know that at some point when she went over, she killed a woman named Yanet that Luce Theron hated her immensely for. So it was somebody either that he loved, someone that was a close friend, or something that she killed. And so he intimately hated her.
Jansen, it turns out Yanet was a sled.
Shit.
Come on.
Yeah, they don't say much about what she was. But
she appeared second, and it was at the War of Power with like 100 Trollocs, right? Something like that. You can glean from that then that Arengar was the first because he had to make him.
No, Agenor.
Agenor, shit. I just dyslexia.
I would question. I mean, you're talking about the first over to the Dark One?
Yeah, it has to be Agenor. If she's the second,
Fear.
What's that?
I thought you don't think it's Lanfear?
Well, who made the Trollocs? That right?
Well,
it took a long time for all of them to get even before the Trollocs were.
When they broke into the boar, it was Mirren and Bideman, and apparently Bideman died or refused to go to the Dark One. But Lanfear was the only one who got to choose her own name. And she was the first one to get in contact with the Dark One, so I assumed it was her.
Oh, okay.
You know, I can't remember if it's actually ever confirmed, because I'm on the fence about Lanfear, but then I'm also like, was it a Shamael in secret? Like, did Elon Moore and Tedranai make his way over there and just like live like this double life?
There's a little bit of information about that when they say that. He talks about how when he got into the Dark One, he realized that all the Dark One needed to do was win one time for him to be victorious. And I think it took him, you know, by the banter that he was having with Luce Theron or Rand, it seems to me like it took a little bit for him to talk himself into that. So I don't know.
You know, that is a big loss. Actually, damn it.
But
damn it.
Yeah, so I would think that. Yeah, I would think that it was Lanfear first. But I mean, it's what's interesting even more are the reasons why the Forsaken went over to the Dark One. So maybe we should talk a little bit about why Graendal went over to the Dark One in the first place.
Yes.
She has like one of my favorite reasons. All the women do. Like the men, except for like Agenor, their reasons are all basically they weren't as good as Luz Theron. They were tired of competing for second.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Asmodean want to write the best song ever?
Asmo and Agenor have like great reasons for going.
Yeah,
But
Buck
everyone
Bell's
else-
nuts.
Well, what? Tell us what are the reasons? What's her stated reason?
Well, what's the
Graendal?
reason? Yeah, Graendal. What's the reason why she went into?
She gave up on the world. People so Graendal has this complexion where she has a very high bar for herself. She sets her standards very high and she expects everyone else to live up to her standards. And unfortunately, people are a constant source of disappointment and they were unable to do so. And so after centuries of trying and preaching this lifestyle, they let her down. And she said, fuck them. And she leaned heavily into like the illusion, at least, of pleasure and excess and lust and everything that she had denied herself to kind of make a really great social commentary on humanity.
Troll.
And she's a huge troll. And so she just leaned into that, and kind of part and parcel with that is the way she's going to get power and the way she's going to like dominate the world and make it in her image is to join the Dark One and like let chaos reign and operate not from the shadows, but like from a position where she has as much influence as she needs, and she doesn't need to like hide behind the suggestion of being not that it's to say that if you don't live a life of excess it's like weakness, but that she was just going to lean into everything as fully and committed as possible and be the most dangerous general on the battlefield in so doing.
Yeah, they do talk about her fighting skills were better than a lot of the other Forsaken. The other thing that we also need to always remember about the Forsaken, thanks to our beloved Viren, is that all of them inside are extremely selfish. In fact, that's the one common denominator between all of the Forsaken is that selfishness. So, you know, she, through the books and her POV, you know, I kept thinking more and more about what Graendal wanted more than anything. And power is, I mean, she wanted to be nameless. Like that, she strived to be nameless. That's what she thought about and talked about almost every other sentence. She wanted to be nameless. And some of the other ones did too. They talk about it, but no one talked about it as much as Graendal or thought about it as much as Graendal.
And no one was comfortable kind of taking second place and playing the long game either, like Graendal was, right? Like with Samael, when she knows, she's like, there's a real chance. Like, he seems to be under the impression that he's going to be nameless. Maybe he knows something that I don't quite know yet. So I am fine to take the back burner on this and watch how it plays out. She can humble herself, unlike other chosen. When the situation demands it. She's very adaptable.
And Summerhog is good at that too.
Yes.
I thought she was okay. So my assumption was that she was tricked, and like
if you read her POVs very carefully in that, and there's couple there's moments where she's basically like, yeah, like he's got the power over me for now. For now.
Yeah.
Like I'm fine playing second fiddle for now.
He's nameless for now. Yeah. Do you have a Delusions of Graendal of My Little Pony behind you? Which one is Delusion?
Graendal.
I'm really upset.
That's awesome.
I need whoever the artist is of these to draw the chosen.
That's
instead of the adorable Emmons Fielder. I don't even know who drew this, or if that artist is still out there doing stuff, but I hope they are.
It's brilliant.
She's right over here with me.
Mm-hmm.
Hubba. Wash that finger.
So yeah, so let's I'm sorry. When she became a chosen, her complete aesthetic changed.
Yeah.
I don't know if she was plumply pretty before, but she certainly became so.
Well, see, I think the dark one.
Like, why can't she just be pretty? Right? Why do we have to say girl is like thick and pretty? It's so weird. Like, what a crazy combination. Go
she's
fuck
got
yourself.
big bones.
Speaking as the resident black man here,
Yes,
I hear
please.
that. We used to hear that all the time.
Plump and pretty.
God,
Pretty.
the way, like, even when we meet her in Fires of Heaven, I think we're in Ravine's point of view, and he's just like, yeah, like Graendal would be considered beautiful
She'd be
in
pretty
anyone's presence but Lanfear. Like,
That sucks.
Yeah.
this like little waif, and Graendal is like second to that. I don't buy it. I don't buy it for a second, Ravine.
So Ravine is like, well, yeah, she's a Cleveland 9. But a Hollywood 7, 6.5. Cleveland, shout out Jansen.
Yeah. Even shout out.
The usual suspects there, Dan.
I'm sorry, what's that?
The usual suspects. You just Kaiser Sose that moment.
Yeah, it's like, you connect the dots. Oh my gosh.
So here's the thing, with Graendal and her name, Graendal, we know this. She didn't choose her name. The Dark One gave it to her. So I think that he had a little bit, and her name means like vessel of pleasure. So I think that the Dark One had a little bit to do with her change.
Okay, so
I think she may have started that change before she went over, and then just like I think basically there reached a TSN turning point, and she was like, "Fuck all y'all! Like, you suck. You're not the society. Like, you're not good enough right now. You're not living up to your full potential." And I think she started the transition before the DO was free, and then when he was out, she was like, well, this just makes sense. Like, if you're gonna go bad, you go full bad and commit. So whether she'd had like 10 years of like that change, sorry, my memory is a bit foggy on like the drilling of the boar and then the commencement of the War of I feel like it's like a period of 10 years in there before things started getting like really heated.
Correct. Yeah, I think you're correct.
So I think probably in that time frame. But it's all, I mean, like, as much as I know about Graendal and like all the stuff that's out there, like, Jim really didn't spend that much time in the Second Age, like filling in the blanks for us, which is why they're so much fun to talk about.
All right, so when she actually came out and announced herself as a Dark Friend, I'm picturing like a RuPaul drag show moment where she's like, "I'm here," and like there's like lights, confetti, a red carpet, Trollocs behind her.
Well, I believe from what I was reading, I believe she worked covertly for a while. She wasn't found out that she was actually a Dark Friend for a while. She was still, working under the guise of the light, and recruiting, bringing people over.
Still treating patients.
They're like, hey, remember that head trippy freaking guru up in the mountain that used to not wear shoes? Now look at all the bling. Huh. Look at all the bling.
Everyone's like, we always knew. Charlatan. We always knew.
But all right, so let me make a confession. I did a Graendal swap in my own life. I was a pretty strict vegetarian for about 25, a good many years, and it just stopped working for me. And within a goddamn week, I was eating steaks. I make good steak.
You were going out there and slaughtering the cow.
I was like telling my kids, like I got like a prime rib or something. I'm like, you guys got to try this. They're like, no, we know what it tastes like. I'm all, are you sure? They're like, yeah. It's all right. I know, Ryan. So yeah, I totally turned all Graendal.
I
I'm a
mean,
Graendal
if you
of
show
beef.
up to JordanCon wearing a strife gown, I will hand over my namesake so happily.
I can see someone doing that. Definitely.
I've actually seen Jansen. Have you been to JordanCon?
No, I haven't, but I've been to Comic-Con San Diego every year for the past 10 years.
Nice.
I've seen everything from the Victoria's Secret Angels to like Vampirella. They come. They come.
There was someone last year, so 2022 JordanCon, and she had a Graendal outfit, and it was unreal. And I know other people have I would never. I'm delusions for a reason. But man, it is a great cosplay, and it is. Yeah, I think they should win the costume contest every time, but I may have been outvoted.
Well, I'm surprised that she didn't influence the judges just a little bit.
Right? Brother Dad, I hope you feel good about this.
I'm sorry. I go to JordanCon with my leather crafting. No vegetarian here.
You're encouraging. Thanks. The way of the leaf, right?
No vegetarian here. No, I was for a long time. My diet just shifted. I just don't eat as much, and it stopped working. Sorry. I mean, I tried. I saved so many animals in my lifetime, guys. You have no idea. I'm an ally to vegetarians, but oh man, I'll cook a freaking New York style. Oh, fuck. Tri-tip. Oh, Jansen, you know tri-tip?
Oh, yeah.
Santa Maria tri-tip. Oh, my God.
I eat all that shit, so
all right.
I've never seen a puppet emote disdain before.
Oh, no, right. I'm just slowly.
I'm seeing what's happening in the corner, and I appreciate it. I mean, it's we're here to talk about
this. Isn't disdain.
Graendal way. Give into your pleasures. Succumb to the temptation of the flesh.
I had an ice cream sandwich that was like 6 inches thick with it. It was like the biggest ball of ice cream between these two small cookies. It looked like one of those things like a dung beetle rolls around. It was amazing.
Someone at Jordan's somehow crafts Graendal couch or lion couch made of all the people doing crazy shit.
Oh my God.
I would buy it.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have had a badger that's been, someone dressed as a badger has been released into the village green. Jansen is going this year. I don't know if you knew that, Delusions.
Awesome. Yes, I am.
Oh
going
man, that is going to be great.
Yeah.
Wait,
so
it's going to be a lot of fun.
So Jansen's going to have a whole lot of friends that he just hasn't met yet.
Yes. Oh, you're going to have the greatest time. Ryan, I am living in complete denial that you're not going. In my mind, and I will be shocked if you are not there in the lobby. Shocked.
Yeah, manifest, but yes, we'll see. The
manifest greatness.
Yeah. The pattern taketh, the pattern giveth. We'll see.
Be the person you want to be, right?
Look at oh yeah.
Look at that didn't help, huh?
I'm working on some compulsion things. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
So, more talk of Graendal.
Let's bring it on.
Girl.
All right, so I want to know your opinion real quick. Jansen, do you believe that the hedonistic side of her is a front to manipulate the world and the Forsaken to underestimate her? Or is it like a truth that is hidden and she's now expressing herself?
I believe it's mostly a front, but I also believe she indulges a little bit as far as with the sexual perversion and things like that. Because, she does have some quotes that says, that she talks about, the things she likes. And it's, she doesn't like the mundane or the ordinary or the dry, it was about feeling, whether it was what'd she say? Cold like wind against your cheek, or the hot slap, or something like that. She just nothing. She didn't want to be considered or even be a part of like the mundane things of life. She and she didn't like nature either.
I mean, she's an extreme woman.
Very much.
Oh, that
so.
cat is oh my gosh.
Oh
It
no!
looks like your pony. One of the Rand pony has a big. Oh, Bella!
So amazing. Yeah, is Bella in there?
Yep. She's actually just tucked in the stable behind me.
Oh, gross.
Ryan, they're gonna.
Sorry, I asked.
They're gonna give a shit. We owe it to the people, Ryan.
Absolutely.
And if that cat jumps on again, I think we're doing Zydeco, Bella.
Every time.
Now here's
All right.
some things that I want to talk about with Graendal. After obviously the War of Power and she got trapped. Now this is one of the things I've been thinking a lot about the Forsaken. So when they all came to after being trapped for thousands of years, they had to come up to speed pretty quickly. So what do you guys think? How do you think that came about? Do you think that the Dark One and had people there, or do you think it was Balsamon?
Like a PowerPoint presentation brought to you by the Dark One?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Well,
right.
go through Simmerhog's point of view that they did have some of them did have orders, and Simmerhog, as late as book 7, she had already been in Shanshan for 2 years. So she had to come up to speed really quickly to figure out what's going on.
Apparently, I think I can't remember if Robert Jordan said this in an interview or what, but he basically said that like the chosen, like those who were sealed in the boar could like see what was happening in the world, and that's how they learned the language. So that's how he like canonically put that in, and they could kind of see like the passing of time. They just couldn't like touch the world except for Ishamael from time to time, who could, bust out and then have
every
to
40 years
back in. And then Agenor and Balthamel were closer, and that's why as time was passing and they were sealed, they were just becoming little crypt keepers.
All right, so can I give you my little...
everyone else could see shit. No, go Dan, sorry.
No, finish. No,
I'm done. Go.
My headcanon for how the Forsaken were freed is kind of similar to Encino Man. It got a little warmer and they get thawed out of a glacier and are in their ragged clothes. They're all, they're all tore up and shit. They don't know nothing.
Ice to meet you as it melts away.
No!
Oh, yes. That, yes. Man.
Honestly, if it's not in season 2, I don't want it. Show's ruined.
Dun, dun, dun.
We're gonna see season
You're
2.
so cool.
I do believe we'll see some of them in season 2.
I think so too. And like that hand, and I know we're talking Graendal, and I don't think we're gonna see her, although fingers crossed, obviously, for me. I hope we do. But that hand reaching through that's covered in blood. I have suspicions, like many do, that it's Lanfear, and I cannot wait for the payoff of actually watching season 2 and seeing whether or not that's true, along with the Dark Friend social.
Well, so to that point, do you think that that Graendal and Semiraj are going to be kind of combined, since they're both kind of the mind manipulator, sexy compulsion people?
I mean, I really hope of all the people, and like, sorry, I feel like I've been talking a lot. So
No, you're our guest.
Someone
Oh,
please
yeah.
jump in, and cut me off.
We're happy to
Um,
learn.
But like, I just feel like this women are so strong. I mean, I have opinions about like, I think Magedian and Masana should be combined. I think that would be a really effective use of Magedian's character, and hopefully it means that she doesn't have to just be, Morden won't have the Corsuvra, because I would really like if women could just not be captive, and taken off like peg by peg, have their power revoked, whereas men just continually gain throughout the series. So I hope the show changes that, and just by doing that, Magedian as Masana in the tower, I think would be so effective. I think it fits her character.
Yeah,
I don't know if I would love Semirog and Graendal combined, just because I think Semirog is terrifying in an entirely different way.
Yeah.
I could see the show doing it, and I can see the justification. Just like personally for me, because of how I see Graendal, I don't know if I would love it.
Yeah, the effect that Semirog has on her surroundings even is part of her, entire being. I would not like to see that. I'm definitely with Delusions here. I would love to see both of them in there. I think that people like Bilal might not be in it all.
What? You mean we're not gonna have Bilal in the tier?
Heavens! Brace
The
yourself.
Dreamweaver.
Brace yourself.
I don't think so. Unless in some fit of strength, Moraine gets her power back by using Balefire and killing him. I highly doubt that. I don't think Moraine's going to have powers to kill him. And so
Bilal is the Rick and Stark of this book.
I like to refer to Bilal as like Bellameo, because I think he's just so funny. Netweaver, sorry, Netweaver, not Dreamweaver. That's the song.
I'm sorry. What'd you call him?
I called him Dreamweaver, but it's Netweaver.
No, the something Reno.
Oh, LMAO, basically, because he's a joke.
Bella. All right, sorry.
Well, actually, how about this? Cheers.
What, Jansen? Well done, Ryan. Our production today, Ryan. God, pulling out the weaves. Shit.
All right, so go on, Jansen.
I said I could see them merging Bilal and Raven.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I would love that. I would love that.
I don't think
Ravine as first of all, Ravine as Idris Elba. I know we're on a total tangent, but this is way.
we know that they're merging, or are they cutting them out?
Still say Idris should play Arthur Hawkwing.
Ooh.
Yes.
See, I just I have Ravine is like my favorite of the male chosen, and I think that he is extremely competent and terrifying and scary, and I just want him to have all the camera time, and I think Idris could play him so well. I had not thought about Arthur Hawkwing, and I may need to revisit my options. We'll discuss on April 20th.
I want Donald Glover. I want Childish Gambino as Arthur Hawkwing. He has so much charisma. Man, hell.
We know that the royal family from Shanshan, whose direct descendants are black. We know Ishara, who queen of, was black.
Andor. Yeah.
Andor. So I think, I just think Idris is perfect for Arthur Hawkwing. Yeah. I think it's perfect.
No, that's really great. Yeah. I will consider it. I'll see how James Bond looks as Arthur Hawkwing when I lay my head down.
I don't know. He's gonna be kind of old. He went on So how long was that boat ride?
All right, I got a question. How do you think they are going to handle? Okay, whoa. Do we know for a fact? Sorry, do we know for a fact that they're going to be melding Forsaken? Has like Rafe said?
It hasn't been confirmed. We just basically are speculating based on the statues.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes,
So my
that
guess is
is-
they're just cutting people out. I think there's some Forsaken that are pretty unnecessary, and that's fine by me. I don't think we.
But
need
I think
to be
there's like some cool
playing match
plots that
game.
happen within the within them that
Yeah.
like Masana we never see on screen
Yeah,
except
there's
for
a lot
like
of cool shit in.
at the end, but like
Oh,
she's
fun
so like she does so much. We just like
Uh.
never see her, and I would love to see her,
Mhm.
and I would love to see Magedian be her instead of, just like staring at Nynaeve longingly for 7 books.
Yes. You're so
When,
powerful.
when we look at the series, though, there are so many
Is she
bad
hot
guys.
for Nynaeve? Did you just is Mogedion hot for Nynaeve?
Oh my god, are we reading different books? Of course she is.
Shit, was this his biggest Schadenfreude?
She
Is
said,
it-
"I'm
is it
going
like
to
a
ride you.
separate
I'm
prison
going to throw a
experiment or-
saddle on you and ride you."
Man,
No,
I need to introduce you to the world of AO3 fanfic.
No, is this like what was it when you like fall in love with your hostage like when you're kidnapped or you're
Well, except
Stockholm
Magedian would be
syndrome,
the
yeah,
one
yeah.
in power. And she's just like, she's so obsessed with Nynaeve. And it's like, girl, why? Why
Oh,
you
she
like
like-
her so
oh,
much?
she's,
Why
like,
you can't
munching
get
her
her
like-
off the brain?
Yeah. She's
I
pretty
wonder.
spectacular.
Because you love her.
Okay. Oh, okay. Rachel, well,
Love
maybe we'll have you back when we discuss her.
There
All
are
right, so
many
speaking
other
of the
people
show,
who
I
are like,
want to talk show. My gut is telling me that they got to do a big reveal for the Forsaken, and they got to bring them all in. I think it's going to be bing, 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 bing. We see
Like
them all.
all 7 of them, right?
Yes, and then gone.
It's going to be like the Hall of Doom.
Still be 13 Forsaken, but I think that maybe the other Forsaken might just talk about them. They're already dead. I think they just might talk about them. But I don't think they're going to be 13 on the show. No. I don't think-
no. Like, I think Balthamel, quite honestly, can be like
Yeah.
done away with entirely. Someone else can step into the role of Arengar if that's where they're going
Balthamel!
with it.
Excuse me. I sneezed.
Yeah.
Same, like we know like Agenor and Balthamel from like they're cutting that part, but I think we need Agenor as an Ashaman in the Black Tower. I think he needs to be.
I agree.
Shiva.
I do agree.
That's because that's badass. We do need, I think, someone infiltrating the camp, like the Saladar breakoffs, whether or not it is Arengar and whether or not it's going to be a male soul involuntarily
that
trapped
point,
in a female body as a punishment. That's a different conversation.
That's an entirely different show. But Graendal, do you think that we are going to have rebirth and reincarnation from the Dark One for Dead Forsaken in the show?
I
So
think
well, only if they have Balefire. If they don't have Balefire, they will not have it.
Okay, because that helps.
Okay.
with
Yeah.
I
the-
think
Okay,
I think they must, because like that's part of like the allure, right? Of like the immortality. Like we need a motivation for someone to be elevated to chosen. Like why are they doing this? Why is Ishamael doing this? Even though like my beautiful goth baby has very different reasons for his turning to the dark side. But everyone else, like I think we need to see some reincarnation. My goal would be ideally for us to get attached to the character first, and like fingers crossed it's not always going to end in the women being I'm trying to say without a content warning, but like what happens to Magedian, we understand what happens to her, yes, and how long that goes on for.
Her
That
captivity.
doesn't, it's not just that like before, like when she is punished, before that she's basically raped by Shadar Haran for infinity, and then she comes back, and so that stuff I feel like doesn't need to happen, like the women, because it doesn't happen to the men. They can just like die.
They don't get
You didn't hear? You didn't hear? Oh yeah, it was all butt stuff all the time. I mean, Agenor was like in agony.
Oh god. Oh god.
Yeah. No, Marisu in chat right now is making all of the points. Specifically, she indicated, that Magedian wanted to ride Nynaeve, but then also that they have to show that the Lord of the Grave is more than just a name. So yeah, I think it's important.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence as to whether or not. I mean, I hope Amazon is able to take this the whole way, and I hope we're able to see the last battle. Because seeing Graendal at the last battle, I think is just going to be out of control. Like she is Hellfire unleashed. Like reading through the scenes of her in the Aiel, and like her taking out Ruark and her and Avienda's showdown. Like I read that and like every time it chills me. Like it is one of the best, in my opinion, scenes in the entire series. Like it is so
a good one.
Good. And I don't know if we need her to be Hessalam for that. I don't know if we need to again punish a woman and then like just make her be ugly. Like what is the purpose of that? Like why can't she just be Graendal? Like why does she have to die and come back as like this old haggardy witch? I don't know. So I hope
who gets to use the true power, but just a teeny bit, just when I let you.
Just the tip.
I think that if it does we get to the point where they're going to have the last battle. I think the last battle will be an entire season.
Oh my God.
I'm not kidding. I mean, they can. I think because of what they did with Game of Thrones, where they actually had full episodes that were battles, I think that the last battle could actually be broken up into an entire season.
I can see that actually
come true.
Especially with the time jumps and all those different things. I think, and with flashbacks, with everything, they could make it an entire season.
Yeah. Let's address Dana Lou's question here. So we do have several transmigration of souls within the Forsaken. I can think of 3 or 4, which made things a bit confusing for me. There's Osangar, there's Asangar, there's Hasalam, there's
Lanfear,
Sindane, yes. Lanfear,
Graendal, Hessalam, Ishamael Morden. I think you might have said that.
So I mean, is that really? Are we gonna have 5 people come back after Rand kills him in the show?
I think Lanfear has to come back. I think they have to do the Lanfear and Moraine thing, right? And we need Lanfear to come back. So that has to happen.
Yeah, but
doesn't need to be Sindane, doesn't need to be Korsuvra, doesn't need to be like all of these things, or like can my girl come back and just be as badass as she was before? I don't know. She definitely needs to come back. Am I secretly hoping that Asmodean comes back instead of Egnor and Balthamel? Yes.
That's possible.
Picture Asmodean as Arengar for a second.
He comes back and he's a tabla. He plays like the hand drums. He's a bongo player.
Like it would just be amazing. Like I would love.
Have you ever seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
Mm-hmm.
So there's this one battle he does against like these techno twins, and his band is doing this band off. And I would love to see Asmodean versus Tom Maryland, just like doing a Scott Pilgrim versus the World kind of.
That would actually have been nice. That would have been actually pretty cool to watch.
Battle the band
on one of the Forsaken and win. That'd be pretty cool.
They're all just doing hot licks on their harp.
Speaking of Asmo, though, and like, I mean, I hope they resurrect him like for selfish reasons, because I think he's so fun. Like he's like one of the most fun chosen. We actually get his POVs. He's like not just hating on Luce Theron. Like he joined the Chosen for the pettiest reason, and it's so funny to me. Like I think this character has a lot of opportunity to be a fan favorite on screen. Do we think that they're going to show the Graendal killing Asmodean bit, or will it be a mystery as to who killed him? And like, so that the show watchers get to have the fun kind of discourse that we as book readers did when the series was coming out, as to like who killed Asmodean, and like, you know, when we would bolt up right at 4 a.m. and run down to the book forum and be like, oh my God, what if Lanfear's alive? And whatever else was percolating through your mind. Like, do we think we're going to have that on screen? Are they going to even... I don't know.
Ideally, exactly like it's in the book. Ideally, yes.
And it just gets all...
Well,
And
one thing
moats are left just floating.
to Grendel. Back to Grendel. So something that I wanted to talk about with her, as soon as she woke up from her long sleep,
Yes.
she made it to Eridomon, where she, became the Lady Basine. And the one thing that, not just the one thing, but one of the things that a lot of people don't talk about with Grendel is her preparation and the things that she does to make herself more powerful and to make herself more knowledgeable. And, one of the things that she did besides make this fortress full of humble, beautiful, obedient people that were all had means and ways to help her through doing all of her bidding, but she also had eyes, an incredible source of eyes and ears all over the world. And she set a lot of them, and one of the more obscure ones that were one of her subtle eyes and ears was our buddy Noel Charon, Jane Farstrider.
Yes.
And
Who she picked up as like the scraps of Ishamael, and she was like, "Oh, if she's done with this, mine now. Come along."
Oh, you're famous. Come with me. Come.
Was one of the most. He had some of the most notoriety in history. And
was he the old man we see in the background with all the beautiful?
Yeah.
Anybody has his head in his hands or
yes,
something?
in Fires of Heaven. And like Allie, I don't know if anyone I pitch wheel takes as often as possible.
Maybe.
Allie from Wheel Takes, if you're not listening, please do, because it is so scary how much she picks up as a first-time reader. She has called the old man in Grendel's room as Jane Farstrider, like, since she read that chapter. And it is, and no one else, like, How?
Just because it's an old man? Who did he look well traveled?
It's like, it is like 5 words in a sentence that is just like part of the prologue. And Allie was like, picked up on that, and she was like, "Oh, Jane Farstrider and Grendel totally makes sense." Yep. And like, she is dead set. It is wild, and it's never confirmed in text that it was, right? Like, this is all like after the fact. And sorry, Jansen, like, keep going. I like totally cut you off again as we're going.
No. This is great. Because all I want to do is talk about it. But yeah, so that was one of her eyes and ears, and she had eyes and ears in just about every nation. And some of the text that we talked about, this says a lot about the times and what was happening while other people were doing things in the books. When Samael came to see her in her palace in Natron's Barrow, and she showed him the Shabote and the Shaboyan, that was before we can only really speculate this, but to me, to take the Shabote and the Shaboyan from Shara had to be a huge deal. They were very important people. So I have to believe that Demon Dread hadn't got there yet.
Yeah, no, he hadn't. Like, Grendel set it up. Have you read River of Souls?
Yes.
Okay.
So she was
Grendel set it up for him basically as like a lark.
Yeah, exactly. So, her form of preparation and how she had things set up throughout the world so she could understand. She even knew everything that was going on in the White Tower with Masana. She knew everything that was going on everywhere. And she was really, really, really good at preparation. So that was one of the things that made her more powerful, was some of the knowledge she had. She was one step ahead of every single one of the Forsaken, except for when the time Samael used her own tricks against her.
And even then, she I often wonder, because we don't get the luxury of being in her point of view too much after that. We're mostly with Samael. I often wonder how...
yeah, bonus points.
Thanks, Sean.
Bonus points. Oh,
Baby
sorry.
and hubby.
Yeah.
Hi, baby girl.
Can you say bye-bye?
Bye-bye. Hey. Can you say I love Ryan?
A, B, C, D, E. I
Say
know.
Oh, man, he sucked back into the boar.
John walks in, he's like, "You're talking to puppets." Bye.
Yeah.
God, it's not a
But yeah, with Samael and Graendal, we don't actually get to be in Grendel's perspective that much. So, and I would just love to know, because I actually, the way that RJ writes her, I think he wrote her as the most competent chosen, bar none, in the series. And I feel like there is more going on with Samael than people give it credit for, and a lot of people just dismiss her at that point. And I would love to have seen like the plans behind Samael. Like, yes, Samael is doing like I'm like catering to him, but not really, because she's still getting everything, like her ducks in a row with Roniel Iturralde. She's still like basically in the two camps of the chosen. She has like she's just, people like her. People like to hang out with her. She's a social butterfly who can flit around in the circles. She's like the only one who gets to hang out with like Demon Dread, Masana, and Semirog, and actually like break into that kind of circle. And I think with Samael, like there was more going on there that we got to see that we eventually pays off. But
remind me, real quick, remind me, was it Egwin who was in the dream world and saw her jumping around to the general's dreams? Is that what I'm remembering?
Perrin saw her, and then like, because of who Perrin is as a person.
But in that weird floaty world where you're just looking at the lights, right? Not the actual Teleran rod.
Oh yeah, maybe Egwene did see her, but she wouldn't have put it together. But Perrin definitely was like, "What's she doing?"
Perrin made it to the lights as well.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So did Kanye West.
So getting back to your point, Graendal, she not only was she in company with all these people, she was a known double agent to a certain degree.
Constantly.
Yeah, they're like, they know you talk to me, and they're like, yeah. They just don't know what I'm telling you. Don't worry about it, Samael. Right.
One thing I really love about Graendal that I think kind of goes under, like when you guys were saying dark friends earlier, the funniest thing about Graendal is she never refers to them as dark friends, and she actually hates that word. She only refers to them as friends of the dark, ever. And I love that little quirk about her, and like I'm wondering where it comes from. Like it's very funny, but she will only ever call them friends of the dark, and she won't ever use compulsion on them or make them one of her pets, because she actually thinks they're not worthy.
They're pretty gross. Yeah.
They're pretty gross, and I think that is so funny. And it's like it goes into like her like a whole psychological being and like what's going on in there, and like, girl, is that a little bit of self-loathing coming out? Like, why do we hate them so much? And they're basically lesser. Like, no, hate them, and she barely uses them, and she almost never has to use compulsion on them, but she doesn't trust them at the end of the day, because she knows that they'll probably turn on her. So she we were talking earlier about Graendal and like whether or not she actually does derive pleasure from her activities, and I honestly don't know if she's ever had like a genuine orgasm that she didn't give herself. Like, I don't know if someone has ever like has ever actually risen to the occasion, or like has broken through like her kind of mind games that she plays with herself.
Which
during
brings
that
me
situation.
to my question.
Yes.
Jansen has an orgasm question, right?
I've been waiting for this.
Okay.
Why did Graendal not go after Galad?
I think his mind's too strong. Honestly, I think Galad is so self-assured and he is so confident.
Oh shit, Galad! Oh, that's Ryan. That's our first poll question.
Any woman has ever seen.
You got it. Okay, I can't do it right now, Dan.
He's got everything she wants. I just
we
quite
never
honestly
even heard her talk about him other than that idiot white cloak.
Right. Well, and that wasn't even Galad, right? That was God, who did she have her fingers in? I don't think it was ever confirmed.
Taking obligation.
Remember at the end when Galad, when she messed up and didn't kill Perrin and he made the hammer and she said that wolf and that blasted white idiot white cloak. So, but why did she? I would have loved to have seen at least one sentence of a POV from Graendal about Galad.
about trying, and like maybe even trying and realizing, because like we see Morgaze, right? And like Morgaze fights off Ravine's compulsion,
Which is crazy.
Which is crazy, because he was using like hammer level compulsion on her because he doesn't have the delicacy
her
that
the hammer,
Graendal does. And yeah, different conversation. But yeah, I think. So maybe there was some conversation. Like, this is how I've headcanoned it because it makes sense to me, where I'm like, Morgaze, like the Trakans, and like Galad is so self-assured. Galad knows himself so well, and like he makes I think an unbelievable character growth throughout the series. Like, he's one of my favorite characters. But I think he's just so confident in who he is as a person that compulsion, quite honestly, I think he'd be able to fight it off because he knows his self-worth, he knows his own value.
His willpower is pretty much a foxhead medallion. His brain is a foxhead medallion.
I mean, you gotta believe she would have at least said.
I would love to see her try. I would love to have seen her try. That is such a good question, Jansen. Oh my God,
that's amazing.
The battle of wills.
Yeah, why?
Also,
and there it is.
Do we think
it was fire?
Yes, thank you, Dana.
Of course, thank you, Dana.
Do we think that Graendal would have been the person to even try on Galad if she knew that she would fail? Because I actually don't see her as someone who would attempt something if she knew she wouldn't be successful.
No. I mean, she got the Sheboygan and Sheboygan and Shataya. She got that. She pulled them out of Shara. I'm sure their mom's like, where'd Sheboygan and Shataya go?
Where'd Sheboygan go?
Sheboygan, she's in New Jersey.
Yeah. Village Mattress has asked in chat why she didn't try for Barrelane, and like, I love Barrelane. One of my favorite characters again in the series. I love intelligence, and I love cleverness, and I love people who can laugh at themselves a little bit. Barrelane ticks all of those boxes for me. Unfortunately, as much as I love Barrelane, Mayene, not that relevant, not that important, and
she was the first of Mayene, but it's a tiny country.
Political swagger, and also, again, if we go to mind fuckery, I don't think Graendal would want to try her hand at someone that she could potentially not.
All right, so you mentioned this twice. So the compulsion, I figured compulsion, unless you block the weave, you don't go. This is what it is, and either they hammer you with it or they tickle you with it, but you can't fight. I mean, you can fight against it, but
no, that's not true. It depends on your level of skill, because even in Raven's POV, he talks about wishing he had a better aptitude for it, like Graendal, because Morgaze kept snapping out of it, and
right. So Graendal, Galad. Galad and Graendal. Galad's willpower could actually stop the one power from altering his mind. Is what you're saying?
Not like the way that you defeat it is like in your mind you can fight off the weave even if you can't channel. And also, by the way, how cool is it that like it was basically confirmed that Galad can learn to channel, because that has been my headcanon for about 20 years, and I'm so jacked about it.
That's so crazy. Love it.
It's like within your mind, like if your mind is strong enough, and we see it with Morgaze, right? Like we see the fog still settling over her with Ravine's weave, but she is so strong-willed that her mind can battle the weave, basically. And that's why I mentioned it in chat, but that's why I think Graendal will ultimately end up throwing off even the strongest of compulsion that was used against her.
So should we equate compulsion to addiction? And to that point, is Graendal's compulsion an addiction? She's placing an addiction to herself. All compulsion.
I think she found a way to do just that.
Yeah.
So if we consider an addiction that you can correct with the strongest willpower, then I guess I can see what you're saying.
I mean, okay, here's what I'll say about Graendal, because there's certain behaviors of Barrelane that I don't think accord with her character, and they were written in and they don't make sense to me, and they're not great. So perhaps now I shall headcanon that Graendal used the slightest form of compulsion on Berelain to make her pursue Perrin, even when he clearly said that no means no. And she put up those boundaries, and she kept being a sexual harasser. So I will maybe choose to believe that some form of compulsion has been used, because like even with Graendal, the way she uses her compulsion when it's so delicate, it's like you don't even know it's there. So it's like, is the mind really fighting off? Like what the mind doesn't know what to fight, right? Because it's so like subtle and insidious that it just kind of like slinks its way in there, and then you find yourself acting in like ways that are antithesis to your character, but they're like not big enough to really register. But yeah, it's a good question as to why, if that's the case, and if that's where we're going with like how subtle she is, why she didn't go after Galad. And is it because she had Bayar? Is it because she was already into the White Cloaks and Galad wasn't worth her while, and she wasn't going to make him a pet?
He's so hot.
He's so hot. So hot. Maybe if he became Lord Captain Commander, which he does, but she was kind of like on Perrin duty at that point. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe if they'd had like another 10 to 15 years, she would have gotten to Galad and taken him out. But like she only ever does it if it benefits her. And I don't know if Galad or Berelain would have benefited her.
No, that's a good question though. It's fun to explore.
I mean,
let's jump. Oh.
I mean, he had everything, every stat. Like he had everything that she would want.
He ticks all the all the boxes.
Every single one.
Although he lost in the Grinwell Cup, so. Or maybe currently losing. Go vote for Galad if you haven't. He's up against Swan Sanche.
I would have loved to see Elaine and Egwene's POV at Galad's wedding. All the shit they would have talked.
Oh my God.
All right, let's keep going, Jansen.
Oh, okay. So,
all right, we got a great theory coming up, everyone.
Oh, you want me to bring out the theory?
Oh, we get yes. We're almost done with the show.
No.
We got 13 minutes left.
So
we jumped. I thought that was a different show.
You mean my shower theory?
That yes. No. You're that she was imitating Samael.
Oh yes. I believe that she was imitating Samael. She's the only one who had the means. She knew extensively. She even says in a POV that she had gone through his entire place after he died. She knew exactly when he died, and she went through everything. And when they had the meeting of the Chosen later, Ishmael told, or Morden told everyone that Samael is either still alive or somebody who claimed to be Samael ordered Trollocs to go through the ways. I believe that was Graendal.
Oh, and shit.
That is so awesome. I never even stopped to think about that one-off comment.
Yeah, I think that was. I think she was.
Who else would it be?
Yeah, she was playing it at every angle, and I think she was using that. And I also think that, the Great Lord of the Dark knew what she was doing. I think she went to talk to him. So,
well, why would she get killed for like killing the other Forsaken then?
Well, she didn't get killed for killing Asmo. They were like, he deserved it.
But she killed 3 of them.
She killed 3. By the third one, they were like,
they're like, all right, this is serial killer stuff.
Like, ma'am, you're actually bringing us down. You're not helping
you're
our
depleting
cause.
our resources.
We can forgive 2, but like the third one,
3
really?
strikes, yeah.
We don't have that many like powerful channelers on the other side to bring over here.
So here's another theory that I have too. Graendal will be back.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
I agree. They
She-
can't hold that beat down.
And
This
right,
is, yes.
she is roiling inside, still having to do her. She's under compulsion, but she still knows who she is. She will be back.
You cannot convince me that Graendal didn't for 1 second suspect that at some point, like with what she does and who she is and how she's out there and the way that she sets plans on plans and has every contingency mapped out, you can never convince me that she had not planned for the possibility that someone would wield hammer-like compulsion on her, and that she had not already, and I've like mentioned this in chat, but that she had not already compartmentalized a piece of her brain to be able to rebuild in the event that this happened. She will absolutely, unequivocally be able to fight off the compulsion that she put on herself.
And you know what that tells us? That tells us that we were talking about some of the women and how their punishments were, in some instances, way worse than some men. But
yeah, men just get to die.
Almost in all of them.
3 of them, 2 of which were punished horribly, are all still alive.
Yeah, Lanfear, Moggy, and Graendal. It's a dangerous combo to have out there.
And not to wasting, I think Masana's still alive too. Just shitting in her pants.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
I think she's real broken.
Nynaeve can heal madness, and if Nynaeve can, then somebody else will be able to at some point too.
No, it's a good point. She's just a pioneer. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, so all right. So the earlier discussion had me thinking as you guys were speaking. So we have Graendal, who we saw has willpower. She was an aesthetic. She despised all material kind of bling. She did not wear adornments. She was steadfast. She was more or less militant in her views, much the same way that Galad is, right? And so to your point, is she just that strong-willed as well to be able to break this addiction that compulsion adds? You know,
I believe that eventually she will, but I do think for some time she will be a slave of Aviendha. And I believe that with the combination of her knowledge, Aviendha's ability to read Terangriel, and the Age of Legends internet book that they have at the White Tower now, the entire Age of Legends is coming back. They're going to be able to create everything that they had before because of all of those things. And Graendal will help Aviendha willingly with all of that until she figures out how to get out of that compulsion.
So that's it. So if she breaks her compulsion, is she still a dark friend? I'm sorry.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if she'll, like, if the dark one isn't out there and like she knows that there's not a chance that he's going to break free. I don't see Graendal actually going and like drilling into the boar. I see her taking the opportunity to seize whatever power that she can, and she will do
without
it.
Without the hook of the dark one, being able to channel and being able to basically do anything she wants. It's one of the most powerful people on the face of the earth.
Yeah, I definitely think she'll go into hiding, and she will. No one will be able to find her, and I think she'll just pull the strings and like create a basic what becomes to her like, God, it's so sick and twisted, but like a safe haven. Like Natron's barrow, it just like it kind of ticked her off when it was blown up, because she was like, man, that was a great collection. That was a really nice. It
had a wraparound porch. It had sun doors up on the second floor everywhere. It had the third-story attic that acted as like an in-law suite. It had a bathroom in the attic, guys. That's rare. And that was she was genius in that. So she issued a little compulsion, send him back out, and she was like, all right, I'm going to send this bird out to kind of spy. Oh, look, Nynaeve is freaking delving him. Oh, no, I'm fucked. Shielded by blown up. So
That's
great.
the only
So
thing that I'm not buying.
and she
about
didn't even.
that.
I'm sorry. She didn't even pull the compulsion. She had the other
She
two.
knew she knew
Yeah,
exactly
Diljeet.
what he would do.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
knew what he would do.
Yeah, that's one of those ways where you can see how she can look at somebody and know the mind of someone and what they were going to do, what they wanted, because she had to think that up within 15 seconds to get out of
Right.
there.
God, she's so
And
smart.
she did that to get out of there. It's weird, but I actually liked Arengar.
Yeah.
Because I liked their personality. She had a temper that was ready to go at any moment, and it shows to her psychology, like the way she was when she was a man, and why he never got a third name, because he was out of control. Like he was just a drinking, gambling. He just wanted indulgence and women and money and just
Lush. Total lush. Yeah.
Yes. Well, and that's like you can even see like Grendel's literal disgust when she walks in on Arengar and Delana, right? And
Yeah.
she's just like she's actually like turned like disgusted by the PDA that they're putting on, and she's like, I don't need, not in my house of like prettiness and happiness and
like
pleasure.
Halima
This is
would-
not pleasure.
My sex is classy.
Yeah, Halima did not care. She would have done it in public in front of everyone. She didn't care. She was insatiable.
Yeah.
Lima fucked. Yeah, no, it's cool. We don't kink shame on the wheel of time or the way to leave. What else do we want to cover about Graendal?
I mean, I guess I can, like, we all know where Graendal falls for me, in terms of the Chosen. Like, I truly think that she is the smartest person in the entire series. I respect her. The more that I read the series, especially like since it's been finished, the more I'm obsessed with her. I think she's so smart, and I love reading behind the scenes. So I guess my question to you folks is, where does she land in your Chosen ratings, or like even just characters within the series? Like, what do you think of Graendal? Have you taken anything away from her the more you read the series, as you see it play out, as you like reread that moment in the last battle when she just annihilates anyone and isn't screaming in a field, lose Theron over and over and over again, but like just gets out there and shows up? What does Graendal mean? What does Graendal mean to you?
I'll go first with that. Well, for me, because I've been an actor since I was 8 years old, and I always look
So
at
what, like 15 years?
I wish. But
Nice, right? High five.
looking at characters, and when I read books, I always think of stakes. Like, what is this character's stakes in the book? What? And when I look at the stakes of all of the Forsaken, my first always comes back. Will always be Demon Dread, because just the idea of someone who can't deal with the fact that he's second best at all. You can't deal with it, and the stakes of trying to prove that and never being able to do that. Playing being that kind of character, the infuriatingness of it all for someone. Like, he's always going to be my favorite because of that, and because of what he's willing to do to win. Like, he's willing to throw it all. Like, he would run into the sun if it meant victory. He doesn't care. Like, and to have that psyche and those stakes in life in general and everything, like, to throw away love, to throw away compassion, everything. She had this gorgeous woman who would have done anything he wanted, and he still said he'd throw it all away.
Right.
Like, at getting this guy. I mean, just to imagine the kind of actor that they're gonna have for this guy. I love it. I just love those sticks.
Amazing.
Like, always being that person, like never.
That's
being
so fun. I don't hear too many people who love Demon Dread, mostly because a lot of people are like disappointed with how he showed up at the end and how it was a surprise. I really love
I
this.
forgot all about him.
To
I was
not,
like, oh, what?
yeah, I mean, to be in that character and not to ever be able to make it, no matter how hard, no matter what is, and being that great and still like, I mean, it's got to be infuriating. That's why it had to be so infuriating to see Ishmael as nameless for him.
Yes. Like it would have pissed him off so much more. Like Graendal would have been like, okay,
I'm a better
for
general.
now. And Demon Dread would have been like,
still I can't. I mean, he's like, damn.
Dark One's like, you meet my new friend Morden, and they're like, no.
The light or the best in the dark. He is tortured with and cursed with being second best. That's it.
He is Garfunkel. He is John from Punch and John and Chips. He is Hutch. He's not Starsky. He is Luke Duke, not Bo. He is what? Who else? He is he's Ross.
Man.
He's Ross from Friends.
I mean, and imagine being that character, telling yourself that there was one thing that he was better at than Luce Theron, and it was being a general, and then finding at the last battle that there's a guy better than him.
That's Matt's. But yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Second best forever.
He must be. He's like, he wants to explode.
What?
You know, Jansen, I'm sure there's a guy who comes in second a lot to Usain Bolt. But Usain Bolt is the fastest guy ever, and so it's just a race for who's second. So that's not fun.
I mean, that's why playing someone like that, being that infuriated with everything, because and being that good and still not good enough for yourself, like it's the stakes in his character make me bubble. Like, but Graendal is a very, very close third, almost second, but Ishmael is my second.
oh, it takes her out, hey?
Yeah, because his stakes are almost as crazy as Demon Dread's. You know, that you got this guy, he's pretty much one of the two most powerful people on the planet.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't even want to exist. That's his punishment.
He's my moody emo baby. I love him.
Like, you brought me back? No, you brought me back? Like, he wants it over. Like, and he doesn't care about anything. He doesn't care. I mean, he knows, and the thing is, his knowledge of the Great Lord is so much more intimate than anyone else's. He knows that there's not going to be any eternities. He knows that people aren't going to rule forever. He knows what he's been promised oblivion. And he knows that's what it's going to be. You know, he's and then Graendal, I like Graendal because her stakes as well of the of power. And I think Graendal also, and this is a shout out to all women. You know,
What?
All women.
he used men's misconceptions of women to
Oh my
dominate.
god. Thank you so much for bringing this up. I didn't touch on it here. I talked a little bit about it on a Friday during the Grinwall Cup, because Graendal, absolute subversion of the patriarchy and like annihilation of misogyny. Like she takes the game and she commandeers it. Like she shatters expectations and
She's a
ceilings
straight up
by
pimp.
playing. Oh my god, by playing their game, but like playing it better. I also like to think that she's a woman supporting women, and she will elevate the women that she deems necessary. But like, I don't think we actually ever see it in text.
Yeah, I mean that's noble.
I don't think Jim is capable of writing that as a narrative in general.
Yeah.
But like in my mind,
she's
totally
a neo. Kind of neo feminist that. Freaking Robert Jordan was all right. My view on Graendal is of besides Asmodean, if I was to kind of be
is
like,
is he your number one?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yes, he is.
yeah, fuck yeah, he's Willie Nelson in my head.
Oh my god, I love that for you,
dude just wants to live forever and just smoke weed and play music. I mean, he got busted. By the way, Asmodean's death was kind of the Robert Jordan drunk driving, right? He's like, hey guys, I'm gonna go to 7-Eleven and go get some beer. I'll be right back. No, you. Woo. He got thrown in jail. He didn't die. He just that was just a cop pulling him over. Anyways, but besides Asmodean, Graendal would be kind of my vibe if I was going to be an all-powerful person. If you were just going to
give in to like your deepest, darkest desires.
I'd want orgies. Yeah, I'd want orgies around me. I mean, why not? Why not just beautiful, powerful people fucking or juggling or whatever, balancing on their hands.
Carried in by like 6 very beautiful men.
Right. I want a chair of beautiful men.
Make me a throne. Who needs a throne of swords?
I want. Some people have paladins. I want a palaman.
Yes.
Palaman.
I wonder who they're going to get to play her.
My headcanon, I used to have Christina Hendricks as my headcanon
from Mad Men.
And this is
Yes,
So this was dating back to like 2005, 2010 kind of thing. Someone recently brought up Lizzo.
Okay.
I am so open to Lizzo playing Graendal because I think that she could fuck with people's expectations and minds in the exact way that you need.
I'm opening for auditioning for it, but if she's not good, then no.
Oh no, but I think she could really. I have hopes. Anyway, I don't think it'll happen. I think they're gonna pick someone like the casting to date has been great. But my headcanon has slowly started shifting to Lizzo away from Christina Hendricks. Although
they'll find someone from like Reykjavik, whose name is hard to pronounce. That has vowels like an O with a slash through it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, how do you say that?
Right guy, how does Graendal sit for you? Where does she land in your chosen?
Oh, she's one of my favorites as a psychologically minded.
I was gonna say, like, do you enjoy that? Play?
Yeah, and I love how she's just always fucking with all the other Forsaken. Every POV you have, or every scene when they're all together, or they're like, she's interacting with another Forsaken. It's one of the greatest scenes.
She's so funny.
She's fearless.
Like her deliberately changing the color of her gown to be like, I'm mad.
Yeah. No,
will never not be funny to me.
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
I have one thing to say after this that you guys are gonna get a kick out of.
All right. Oh. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Everyone, stay tuned. So when I'm getting a really new perspective of her through this conversation, which is why I love this show, which I love doing this. She, to my headcanon now, is just like the world's greatest troll, and I love it. Yes. If I think about her as just constant social commentary, like that's enormously funny to me.
She is like, if she were a movie, she would be Don't Look Up. Like she's so funny. She's so funny.
Yeah. So she's one of the most effective Forsaken.
For sure.
Yeah. Like I don't know why. I don't believe she should have been punished like that. And I hope they don't do that.
I don't think we need it. I don't think we need it.
Well, that's one of the things I want to talk about right now.
All right, let's go.
All right, jump in.
This is what I believe that they're going to do with Graendal on the show.
Oh, here we go.
I don't think she's going to get punished like that and turn to Hessalam. I believe that Graendal is already going to look like that and have the Mask of Mirrors the entire time.
The entire time, yeah, I agree.
And once that they blow the Mask of Mirrors, it's going to be, she actually really looks like that, though. That's what she looks like. That's what I think they're going to do with Graendal.
She turns into the Where's the Beef lady?
Yes.
I'd be fine. Yeah, like I'd be fine if it isn't just like taking who she is as a person and what she looks like, and then punishing her by again putting in her into a woman's body, but a woman's body who is not as good looking. And that's like the constant kind of theme throughout the series is like it's the thing to be a woman, and that's something that's like reiterated kind of throughout the books, and here's why. As women get their power stripped away. So I would really appreciate if we actually saw images of Graendal as, let's call her Hessalam, as her true self with the mask of mirrors down. I would appreciate if we saw that throughout the show as the season went on, and then saw her assuming it to walk out and like be in her like stage presence, like put on her show makeup.
I mean,
and at the end, it's just like Mask of Mirrors is obliterated, and she's just out there doing her thing, living it, because this is the last battle for them too. I would love that. So
kind of like what they did in the Game of Thrones with the Red Witch.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that.
I mean, and I hope they have a full size actress. To be honest, I mean,
yes,
that's
don't
right.
have many women of size on television in roles. I mean, it's gross, but she is described as plumply, fucking plumply. I've never used the term plumply ever.
It's a
but
like
she's but all right, let's use that. Let's use that guide and get a larger size actress. I mean, we have beautiful thin waifs all over TV. Let's have Graendal be
have someone command this
luxurious, fleshy woman.
And that's why also, like, if they go that route, I hope they don't do what Jansen, like what you just said. I hope they don't choose to make someone who is out there and like just like owning her own body and so proud and like beautiful without the caveat, like without the descriptor of like she's pretty but also plump, like
right.
Like
no,
it's not regular pretty, it's plumply pretty.
And she's sexy as hell anyway. Yeah.
Sexy as if we just had that and like if that's what they're gonna do and put that out there, then I hope that they don't say like, by the way, she's ugly.
Look at besides
representation. But I don't like I mean it would also be cool, I guess. Now I'm like walking myself through this, but like it would be cool, I guess, if like they churned her and like when she was not pretty, she like was actually a thin little waif with like maybe, you know, like the typical English colorings and nose and everything else, and like she just turned herself, like she thought she was more beautiful the other way. I don't know. There's weird stuff that goes on in there.
Full Lizzo.
And I don't know what the right answer is, and I'm glad I'm not in the writer's room or the casting room to figure it out, because it's tricky ground to tread.
Might get like I don't even think she has to be like a haggardly gross. I think she just Mask of Mirrors. She when she's done, she just looks like a secretary.
Like Lanfear's herself up, just like adds a little bit of like that bold glamour filter on TikTok.
Yeah, she just turns into a sexy librarian, but not, you know, the Lizzo.
Yeah, she takes the filter off. So what you're saying?
She's a walking Instagram filter.
And everyone's like, "What? You didn't have anime eyes? I had no idea. Oh, you didn't have a star in your hair that was like glittering? Oh." All right, guys. All right. What else do we want to say? Anything else, Jansen?
No, I think we're done. Okay. Yeah, I think we're done. Next week, we're going to be talking about Samael.
Ooh, Scarface. Ooh, ha ha.
Say hello to my little friend,
says the little man.
Didn't need the scar, but he kept it. Yeah, we'll talk about him. Revenge, baby.
Revenge.
You know, a lot of German generals had scars right across their face.
Yeah, it was a mark.
Yeah, there's a lot of things about Samael, especially pre-War of Power that talked about.
I'm excited for a Samael like conversation, because I don't think he gets enough love, and I quite respect his brain. But I think a lot of people kind of like shit on Samael, and I'm very intrigued to hear what you have to say next Sunday.
Absolutely.
Oh man, kind of Graendal's bestie in a way, right?
Yeah, certainly the one who knows her best. I don't ship them. I know other people who do. I think they're just platonic besties, and I really like that for them, who use each other when they need to.
No, it's Samael and Birgitte we ship, right? All right.
Yes.
Delusions, you have the Feather in the Mountain or Mountain in the Feather?
I do have a podcast, Feather and Mountain Podcast. We have taken a couple months hiatus just as I get back into working mom, balancing like very stressful job with raising tiny human and finding time in between. Also because we are a first time reader and show watcher only friendly podcast. So for those who don't know, I host the podcast as a veteran reader. I've been reading the series for 24 years. My father is a never reader. He has read Eye of the World, but just kind of skimmed it before the show came out. So we host the show together. And we are now going to come back probably in the next couple of weeks as we talk about Eye of the World. And so breaking that down kind of as much as we can into chapter chunks of Eye of the World that match up with the show. So we'll be doing that as we wait on season 2 to come out. And then you can catch us every Thursday. We'll be dropping episodes before the next one comes out, just debriefing the week before. It's a ton of fun. We've done Rings of Power. If you watched that, we've done our rewatch now of season 1. We've had a ton of guests on. It was a blast. I had so much fun doing all of that stuff. So you can catch us on all major podcasting platforms.
And that's with your dad?
Soonish, with my daddy.
Well, see, I've heard that doing a show with anyone you're related to is never a good idea.
It never works out.
Terrible.
It never works out, I've heard. Yeah.
You won't last. They say if you get past 7 episodes, you're good. It never lasts.
7?
Good on you.
Good
on you guys. All right, let's let Jansen go. Everyone, we'll see you next week. We love you. And run for your lives. This is the way to leave.